On a peaceful Saturday evening at a small park in Fairfield, Connecticut, 16-year-old Michael sat under a tall oak tree, reading a book while waiting for his younger brother Jordan to finish soccer practice. Everything seemed normal until a group of 5 bikers, dressed in leather jackets and dark jeans, arrived. Instead of passing through, they stopped and set their sights on Michael. 3 of them approached, provoking him with challenging words. Despite the rising tension, Michael remained calm, responding politely yet firmly. When Jordan appeared and spoke up to defend his brother, the bikers turned their threats toward the young boy. Realizing conflict was inevitable, Michael swiftly utilized his karate skills, taking down each opponent with precise and controlled movements. The park's visitors started to notice, and some even recorded the scene. Defeated, the bikers retreated, but not without issuing a final threat. As they walked home, Jordan asked how Michael had managed to handle the situation. Michael taught him an important lesson. True strength isn't about size or aggression. It's about preparation, discipline, and knowing when to act. As Michael sat quietly under an oak tree in the park, waiting for his younger brother Jordan, the peaceful evening took an unexpected turn. A group of 5 bikers rode in, their loud engines disrupting the calm atmosphere. While families enjoyed the evening, the bikers' attention locked onto Michael. 3 of them approached, their presence intimidating. Despite their attempts to provoke him, Michael remained composed, responding with quiet confidence. When Jordan intervened, trying to defend his brother, the situation escalated. The bikers turned their focus toward the younger boy, prompting Michael to act. Years of karate training had taught him to stay disciplined and anticipate danger. As one of the bikers attempted to shove him, Michael dodged effortlessly, countering with precise movements. Within moments, 2 of them were on the ground, groaning in pain, while the leader struggled to catch his breath. Onlookers in the park took notice, some recording the encounter. Realizing they were outmatched, the bikers retreated, but left behind a final warning. As Michael and Jordan walked home, Jordan asked how his brother had managed to stay so calm. Michael explained that real strength comes not from size or aggression, but from preparation, discipline, and knowing when to act. Michael sat under a tall oak tree in the park, flipping through a book as he waited for his younger brother Jordan to finish soccer practice. The evening was peaceful, filled with the sounds of children playing and families chatting. However, the calm atmosphere shifted when a group of 5 bikers arrived, their roaring engines breaking through the air. Unlike casual passers-by, these men stopped near the soccer field, their eyes locked onto Michael with an unsettling intensity. 3 of them, led by a burly man with a shaved head, approached him, their footsteps heavy with intent. Michael sensed the tension, but remained composed. When the leader questioned why he was there, Michael answered politely yet firmly, refusing to be intimidated. The biker smirked, making pointed remarks that hinted at deeper hostility. As they closed in, Michael remained still, knowing that reacting emotionally would only escalate the situation. Suddenly, a voice broke through the tension. Jordan had wandered over, unaware of the danger. The bikers turned their attention toward the younger boy, their grins widening as if sensing an easier target. That was when Michael stood up. Years of karate training had taught him control, observation, and when to act. As the leader reached out to shove him, Michael moved swiftly, dodging and countering with precision. A sharp strike to the wrist disarmed one biker, while a calculated kick sent another stumbling. The crowd in the park began to notice, some recording the scene. Realizing they were outmatched, the bikers retreated, but not before issuing a final warning. On the walk home, Jordan asked how his brother had remained so calm. Michael explained that strength wasn't about brute force, but about preparation, discipline, and knowing when to act. As Michael and Jordan walked home in silence, the weight of what had happened at the park still lingered in their minds. Jordan, still in awe, kept glancing at his older brother,
trying to process what he had just witnessed. Finally, unable to hold back his curiosity, he asked, "Michael, how did you do all that?" "Those guys were huge, and there were 3 of them." Michael chuckled softly and shook his head. "It's not about being bigger, Jordan," he explained. "It's about being prepared, staying calm, and knowing when to act."
Jordan frowned, still worried. But what if they come back? That guy said it wasn't over. Michael stopped walking and placed a reassuring hand on his brother's shoulder. "If they do, we'll handle it. But listen to me. What happened today wasn't about fighting. It was about standing up for myself and for you. Violence should never be the first option, only the last." When they reached home, their mother was waiting on the porch, concern evident on her face. After listening to Michael's story, her worry turned to pride. "I'm proud of you," she said, "but promise me, only take risks when there's no other choice." Michael nodded. "I promise." That night, as Michael lay in bed, the events of the evening played over in his mind. He thought about the bikers, their aggression, their arrogance, and the way they underestimated him. He remembered the way the crowd had gathered, watching in disbelief as he defended himself and his brother. But most of all, he thought about the leader's final words before leaving. "This ain't over, kid." Michael wasn't afraid. He had learned long ago that fear only had power if you let it control you. What mattered more than fear was preparation, discipline, and knowing when to stand your ground. Tonight had been a test, not just of his karate skills, but of his ability to remain calm under pressure. He hadn't fought out of anger or pride. He had acted only when there was no other choice. That was the lesson he wanted Jordan to understand. As they walked home, Jordan had asked, "Michael, what if they come back?" Michael had stopped, looked his little brother in the eye and said, "Then we'll deal with it. But remember, standing up for yourself isn't about proving you're strong. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone take that away." Their mother had been worried when they got home, but after hearing the story, her concern shifted to admiration. "I'm proud of you for protecting your brother," she had told him, "but promise me you'll never take risks unless you have no other choice." Lying in bed, Michael made that promise to himself again. Tonight had proven that courage wasn't about being fearless. It was about doing the right thing despite the fear, and deep down, he knew this wasn't the end of the story. As Michael lay in bed that night, he reflected on everything that had happened. The confrontation with the bikers, the growing tension, and the moment he had to step in to protect Jordan, all of it replayed in his mind. He knew that the bikers had left defeated, but their leader's final words still echoed, "This ain't over, kid." Yet, Michael felt no fear. Fear only had power if you let it control you, and he refused to give it that chance. Tonight had not been about fighting. It had been about standing his ground, protecting his brother, and proving that true strength came from discipline and self-control, not size or aggression. He thought about the crowd that had gathered, the murmurs of admiration, and the phone cameras capturing everything. Would this incident follow him beyond tonight? Would the bikers return? These were questions he couldn't answer, but he knew one thing for certain. He had done the right thing. As he closed his eyes, Michael reminded himself of the lesson his mother had taught him. Never seek out conflict, but never back down when faced with injustice. No matter what came next, he would be ready, not with fear, but with quiet resolve. Michael's story is a powerful reminder that true strength isn't about physical size or aggression. It's about preparation, discipline, and knowing when to take a stand. That evening at the park, he hadn't sought out conflict, but when it came to him, he remained calm, controlled, and ready. His ability to stay composed in the face of intimidation wasn't just a result of his karate training. It was a reflection of his mindset. He understood that fighting should never be the first option. But when left with no choice, he needed to act decisively. His actions not only protected himself, but also his younger brother Jordan, teaching him an invaluable lesson about courage and self-respect. Jordan had seen firsthand that bravery isn't about reckless confrontation, but about standing up for what is right. Their mother's words reinforced this idea. Violence should only ever be a last resort. As Michael lay in bed that night, he knew that the experience had changed him. He had faced aggression with discipline and walked away with a stronger sense of purpose. No matter what lay ahead, he was ready. Not because he was fearless, but because he understood the true meaning of courage. Michael's experience that night was more than just a confrontation. It was a test of his discipline, courage, and ability to stand up for himself and his brother. He hadn't fought out of anger or pride, but out of necessity, knowing that protecting Jordan was his responsibility. His years of training had prepared him not just physically, but mentally. He understood that true strength wasn't about overpowering others, but about maintaining control, making smart decisions, and only using force when there was no other choice. As he lay in bed replaying the events, he realized that the encounter with the bikers wasn't just a random incident. It was a lesson. The world wasn't always fair, and people like those bikers existed everywhere, trying to intimidate others. But courage wasn't about seeking out fights or proving something. It was about knowing your worth and refusing to back down when faced with injustice. Michael knew that this might not be the last time he faced a challenge like this. But he wasn't afraid. His mother's words echoed in his mind. Only take risks when there's no other choice. And if the time ever came again, he would be ready, not with fear, but with quiet confidence and unshakable resolve. Michael's experience at the park was more than just a confrontation. It was a defining moment that reinforced the values he had been taught his entire life. He hadn't sought out trouble, nor had he allowed fear to dictate his actions. Instead, he had relied on discipline, strategy, and composure to handle the situation. His years of karate training had never been about learning to fight, but about understanding when to act, how to stay calm under pressure, and how to protect himself and others when necessary. That night, all of those lessons came together. As he lay in bed replaying the events, he knew that standing up to the bikers had been the right thing to do. He hadn't used violence to prove a point or to display dominance. He had done what was necessary to keep himself and Jordan safe. Yet, the leader's final words, "This ain't over, kid," lingered in his mind. He wasn't naive enough to believe that the situation was completely resolved, but he also knew that fear was useless if it controlled you. Strength came not from brute force, but from knowing your worth and refusing to let others take it away. Jordan had seen that firsthand. Michael hoped his younger brother had learned the same lesson, not just about self-defense, but about resilience and integrity. Their mother had always told them that courage wasn't about being fearless, but about making the right choices despite fear. That night, Michael understood that more than ever. No matter what came next, he would be ready. Not because he was stronger or faster than others, but because he understood the value of self-discipline, preparation, and quiet confidence. The world was unpredictable, but one thing was certain. Michael would always stand his ground when it mattered most. Michael's confrontation was not just a lesson in self-defense, but a profound reminder of courage, discipline, and the power of composure. In life, challenges and pressures are inevitable, whether from society or individuals who seek to assert dominance over others. However, true strength does not come from reacting with anger or fear. It comes from maintaining self-control, staying calm, and responding with wisdom. Michael did not fight to prove his strength. He acted only when there was no other choice to protect himself and his younger brother. This teaches us that real power is not about physical force, but about facing adversity with confidence and clarity. For older and more experienced individuals, life is no longer about physical battles, but about overcoming difficulties with wisdom, patience, and resilience. The true lesson here is to stand firm in our values, never bow to intimidation, but also not seek unnecessary conflict. Strength is not measured by how we fight, but by how we choose to act when faced with challenges. In the end, knowing our worth and protecting what truly matters, with dignity and integrity, is what defines true courage.